And it's like, okay, how exactly does all this work? I don't know, but I ask you this, how exactly does open source software work? I mean, the basic idea of it, okay, this source code is open for anybody to use. Okay, that much is obvious. But like, how the heck does the community form? You know? I don't know. How does Wikipedia work? You know, the old joke is the problem with Wikipedia is it only works in practice. In theory, it would never work. In theory, there's no way that millions or thousands at least of strangers could all be contributing their own opinions to this thing, and somehow we get a logical encyclopedia out of the mess. Like, how would that ever happen? Surely there'd be all sorts of disputes, and people would be arguing, people would... Yeah, but somehow, like, the good article wins out. So what if we all do our communicating and arguing and bickering or whatever in Enation, and somehow the smart ideas kind of rise to the top, and those become official policy, even without like an executive to say like this is our official policy or whatever. Like it could just be the policy. Like it could be generally agreed on. Like like so many other things at work. I ask you, who determines the rules of courtesy, manners, and such? Like who came up with that? Nobody. Nobody, right? But we all know, right? You know, and I know everything that I don't know. You send somebody an email and you shouldn't type in all caps, right? If you type just all capital letters, that's being very angry and that's rude, and that we know that, right? How do you know that? We know it because everyone else knows it, because we all, we kind of tell each other. If somebody does, like, type a thing on some forum in all caps and it's all messed up and illogical, then everyone else will kind of respond to him and say, okay, that's stupid. And even if he doesn't take the hint, the rest of us will have it reinforced in our mind. Yes, that is stupid. Right? And then it becomes just this thing. Without, anybody to enforce it. Without, the cops don't come if you're rude, and there's plenty of rudeness in the world, but there's a social enforcement without even an official debate process and official legislation. And here are the rules for manners, Here are the rules for customs. Here are the rules for 1,000 different things of how you operate in everyday life. It all works completely ad hoc. We all each get our own individual ideas, and we communicate this to other people, not necessarily explicitly, like you walk up to somebody, I think these are the manner rules that there should be, But one way or another, by the way you conduct your own self, for instance, you communicate the idea of this is how I think people should act, and he communicates to other people, and such and such and such, as it all bounces around and around, and eventually we start getting the basic ideas, just like in Wikipedia. How, everyone contributes thousands and thousands and thousands of edits to an article, and eventually it starts forming into a smart article. So maybe we start that. We start, it starts with like the 10 of us, I guess. But, it'll grow. Whether under this banner or some other one. Again, we might end up with a different name. Something other than Enation. Who knows? But we start off thinking, okay, what are, like, some principles we agree on? What are some, I don't know, freedom of speech. There's one. A lot of people believe in freedom. And once again, did anybody, like, say, freedom of speech is a good idea? I mean, a lot of people have said it, but it's not like there's one guy in charge of freedom of speech throughout the whole flipping globe. It's an idea. It spreads around, hey, freedom of speech. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Freedom of expression. Yeah. So we start with ideas like that. And then to say, quote, I am a member of the Enation, I am a citizen of the Enation or whatever, is to say, by and large, I believe in those principles that the other members of the Enation, by and large, also believe, right? These things that we generally agree on. You know, and even these things are in flux, right? We can agree on something more and then less, and then you know, and then okay, this is official. This was kind of official, and then it kind of lost its sway, and then we decided to move on to some other idea, and then we decided, you know, ad hoc once again, moving, flowing, changing, adapting. This is the internet. This is, you know, this is how things are meant to work. They're very interesting that way, constantly evolving. So then that's what citizen of the Enation would mean. I think a statement in your willingness to go by certain norms, certain ways that we agree that people ought to act. They're probably vague concepts generally, you know. But vague concepts can be powerful, you know, because they guide the specific concepts. So we start believing in that. And through that, I think we may create something interesting. You know? Questions will come up with this. People say, okay, what if a guy says, I'm a member of the Enation, and really he's not? You know, and that is to say, he doesn't actually believe in all this stuff, right? Well, what if a guy says, you know, I'm a nice person in real life, and honestly he's a jerk? Then we'll all kind of just mentally label him as he's actually a jerk, right? And eventually, there'll be technical things to this too. There'll be some database or something, I guess, for members of the Enation and such and such. And if we can learn to work with each other, all right, come up with these norms, come up with these ideas, trust each other in this respect, then we can start working together kind of like a nation. Like when a nation says, you know, I don't know, we're going to build a road, you know, and then collectively a nation does that because people pay their taxes, and then that goes to the road construction. What, you know, someday Enation might do things like that. I'm just thinking big here, you know. Enation might say, I don't know, someone might say, you know, I'm going to build, I don't know, an orphanage, you know, and puts it out to the Enation, hey guys, need some help with this. And then maybe somebody would help. And somebody would, like, you know, give us some building plans. Some lawyer would come by and make sure that the building code is up to standard, and some, you know, and various other people would compensate in various ways, you know? All ad hoc. All without having to have taxes and send us this central system and, you know, some one guy or some, you know, small group of people that we may or may not trust. No. Just like, you know, some sort of thing of browsing through what people on Enation might need. And then you say, oh, you know, this person needs some money to build their orphanage, whatever it is. I have some money, I'll send you some money. And then that gets recorded eventually with some sort of technical thing, but even so, without that, it could be in the social element, in whatever website that person may be on. This is the thing of existing independent of any one implementation. But it's recorded, it's out there on the internet, available for people to see in the various ways we'll find of seeing it, and then we'll say, hey, you know, this guy gave $1,000 to build an orphanage or something, and then later on, if he needs help, then someone else would help him. So you see how this is very different than the average nation, you see. It's, well, I'm almost talking about a collective self-help group. Except, well, that's kind of what a nation is, right? Right? You know, for the common defense, we all band together, and for the common welfare, that's why we build those roads, is for the common economy, which will work, and you know, we all working for the benefit of each other, you know?